seem to understand. I'm not locked in here with you.
That's it! You're locked in here with me!
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
What absolute twaddle.
All right. What is it? Tuesday? Tuesday night? That means it's the Tuesday night Radio Baloney Live. I am your host, Richie Baloney. So this is, what is this? 3 live streams in a row. This is 4 live streams out of the last 5 nights. We do that occasionally. We had to do a Rumble. Not had to. We had the pleasure of doing a Rumble premium only live stream last night. Check it out. We talked about some interesting things, and I'll probably be making a clip out of it anyway. We're talking about the ridiculous, absurd, utterly ridiculous Canadian EV mandates, 100% by 2035. It's totally crazy. This is just net zero globalist gibberish. It's totally insane. I will be clipping that and putting that out as a regular video, that part of it, the live stream from last night. So keep your eye open for that. Otherwise, how's everybody doing? Spambot, how you doing? First like, good for you, man. That's double good karma, by the way, everybody. So as you know, when you subscribe to the channel, obviously, or like the stream, something just as mere as liking the stream, you get free good karma from this channel. So what happens is, while I'm preparing the live stream and while I'm doing the live stream, I'm building up this inner reservoir of good karma. And at first I thought, well, I'll keep all of this. It'll be really good for me. I'll have all this good karma. Good things will happen. Then I realized, no, keeping it is bad karma. So I have to give it away. And the first like, whether you're on Rumble, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on X, whether you're on Locals, because we're streaming live to all of those at the same time, you get that double good karma. You could get like 8 times good karma if you get the first like on all of them. It's crazy, I know. But it's a trick. It's a hack. It's a karma hack. All right, anyway. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, how's everybody doing? What's going on? So yeah, it's Tuesday. Our next live stream after tonight will be Friday, but this is the last one until Friday. Unless I go crazy and do another Rumble premium only stream. I don't know. I don't even know what's going on anymore. Anyway, let's go through the menu of what we're going to talk about tonight. I don't think it's going to be a long one, probably a couple of hours tonight. Let's see. 24-year-old Venezuelan posed as teen to attend Ohio high school for over a year. Isn't that interesting? That's great immigration policy right there. This guy is going to high school with your daughter. Great idea. Turns out he's also fathered a child during this time. So anyway, I don't know. I heard they're making a new TV show about it. It's called, I think, Beverly Hills MS-13. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to look at some memes. We're going to look at some memes, of course. Memes are always fun. So this is the menu of the things we're going to be looking at. We're going to look at them in more detail after. Hopefully, when we're done going through the menu, the chat will be filled up and we can take a little look at that before we get started. So what's Elon Musk? Elon Musk is doing his thing, destroying journalists again, and I'm here for it, and I love it. I think it's fantastic. We'll take a look. There's a couple of clips of that. We've got Marco Rubio here. I think just exposing the, I don't know, evil of the Democrats, talking about the South African refugees. He's doing a very, very fine job. And it's just mask off for Democrats at this point. Mask off. 60 white people from South Africa. It's too many. That's white supremacy or something. Forget about that 20 million during Biden. Forget about that. Total bunkers. What do we got on here? So let's talk about what happened with Nancy Mace. This is from Not to Be. So yeah, she was threatening to expose herself in Congress or something. I really wasn't paying attention to the story, but I found this and we'll take a look. They recap what went on here, and it's actually a weird story. Canada. So we have demands that from Palestinians that Canada turn into Gaza, apparently. So I'm against that personally. Here you have a cab driver or an Uber driver, and he's an immigrant actually, and he is laying into the people of Vancouver for being hippies, that they're all on drugs, and that is true. He is correct, and I like this guy. Let's see. So we're going to talk about the Canadian election a little bit. These ridings that keep getting flipped with these very weird, these kind of suspicious recounts. Like you had this one, Terrebonne, where it was one vote. They did a recount and it was one vote. And then it turns out there was another vote for the bloc, which would have tied it. And because there was a bunch that were sent to a bunch of ballots that were sent to the wrong edge. The whole thing is just a mess. Or there was wrong addresses involved. I don't know. It's just getting weird, but it just feels like this inevitable creeping towards flipping enough seats for the Liberals to have a majority government, and then they can do whatever the hell they want. Yeah, it's worrisome. Then we get to the last tab of the evening, and there's a bunch of stuff. There's some stuff you guys sent me, Miles. I know there's some stuff. Let's see. Eve sent me something, which is good. It's a T-shirt design. The only thing is with the teapot, they, them, energy lady. Thing is, I can't use other people's images on T-shirts, unfortunately. But we've got a bunch of stuff here. We've got some. This is quite good. Megyn Kelly with Jake Tapper, just calling him out on like the gaslighting from Jake Tapper. He's put out his book exposing that the media was all totally fooled by the Biden administration. I don't know. Look, in 2020 on this channel, you heard me saying that Joe Biden was demented. It's not like it was a big secret. I mean, the real story is the media knowing that he was demented the entire time and pretending that he wasn't. It's not that the story isn't that it was hidden from them. All right. Look at this kid. Come at me, bro. I am intimidated by that kid. That is going to grow up to be a tough man. He is all business. Oh dear. Let's see. There's some good karma going there. This guy's pretty funny. Let's say dwarf comedian. Little in stature, but big in laughs. We have some Starbucks employee retards here. Call me retards, and they don't understand how the world works at all, apparently, and they're going to let us know all about that. And then I guess the last one here would be Adam Carolla, nuking two of Hollywood's biggest icons. Bruce and De Niro are buffoons, he says. That would be Bruce Springsteen and Robert De Niro. I haven't even watched this myself yet. I'll be watching it with you guys for the first time. All right, let's get to the chat quickly. All right, what the hell's going on? Let's see. Spambot says, doing okay tonight? I'm glad to hear about it, Spambot. I hope you're doing better than okay. Rosie says, I did not get the first like again. Early bird, Rosie. You know what, Rosie? You got the second. I'm going to give you 1.5 good karma because you're like awesome for the channel. Which also reminds me, I've still got to do music for those 2 merch videos. I've been super busy. I need to get to that though. The reason is because I want to do my own music for it, but maybe I just won't be able to. Maybe I'll just do canned music and then I'll do a silly accent. Spambot says, how much OnlyFans money must we give to stop that congresswoman from burying herself? A bunch. Let's see. Can we see Eve's shirt design anyway? Yeah, I think if I can bring it up. I don't know. I'll see if I can bring it up. Rosie says, maybe the problem is all those employees are drinking that nasty commie coffee. Nasty commie coffee. That's a great point. Fantastic. 1.5 karma. Please tell my husband how awesome I am. Very awesome. Very extremely awesome. All right. All right. So there we have it, I guess. So I don't know, should we just get stuck right in? Should we get stuck right in? All right, let's just do it. A 24-year-old Venezuelan posed as teen to attend Ohio high school for over a year. That's right. The man claimed to be a victim of human trafficking, was working with an advocacy group to obtain protected legal status. Police say this shouldn't happen. You shouldn't have 24-year-olds in high school. You should have that guy in high school, the man who fathered a child while he was in the high school. You shouldn't have that. That's wrong. That's just bad. I mean, he's not South African, so I guess that's a plus at least. But, I mean, come on. Am I going to tell the joke again? I am. They're making they're making a TV show based on this. It's called Beverly Hills MS-13. 24-year-old Venezuelan man claiming to be a human trafficking victim attended an Ohio high school for over a year while posing as a 16-year-old. 16-year-old? I think that they knew. I think that they knew very well that this was not a 16-year-old, that this was a 24-year-old man. And they just, this is in Ohio. So I'm guessing that the people in the schools are notoriously woke. School faculties are notoriously woke. I'm guessing the thing is that they see like anybody in the country illegally as like the best person that's ever, like way better than like George Washington, for instance, like better than any American who's ever lived. Right? Like George Washington is a joke compared to this guy. Just a joke. And he was white as well. White. Although this guy's also white. Although, here's the thing. Like, North America was colonized by British white people. And then everywhere else was colonized by other Europeans, like Spaniards, who are white. Portuguese, who are white. They're Europeans, right? It's this weird thing where, I mean, it's exactly the same story. In fact, way more brutal, actually. Like, if you look at, like, Cortez, for instance, and, like, the Aztecs, like, way more brutal. Or the Pizarros in Peru with the Incas, like, extremely brutal. But they get a pass for some reason. They get, like, a colonizer pass for some reason. It's weird. All right, anyway. Anthony Emmanuel Labrador Sierra, an adult male, attended Perrysburg High School near Toledo from January 2024 until last week, after it was discovered he had lied about his age. Had obviously lied about his age. The city's police department said Tuesday Sierra was arrested on Monday and charged with felony forgery charges after a woman came forward and said he was the father of her child and that he was pretending to be a teenager. So, I don't know. This just feels like a failure of the of national immigration policy to me. You know, it's like, it should be like, you know, skilled workers or something, like if you need them, like people that you absolutely have, skilled workers, you know, not people to come and pretend to be 16 and go to high schools while they're impregnating women. What are your plans while you're in the country? I'm going to impersonate a teenager and go to high school and then impregnate some lady. All right, enjoy your stay. The Perrysburg School District said that Sierra used forged documents to obtain legal guardianship, a social security number, an Ohio driver's license, and temporary protected status from deport. I mean, how easy is it to be illegal in a country if you could actually be 24 and go to high school and pretend to be a high school student? I just like forge your document. It's just obvious that you're not 16 or 17. It's just obvious. But you could, like, how, like, it should be way, way, way harder than that. Extremely hard. Local detective Ryan Merrow, who is investigating the incident, told the Daily Wire that the case is ongoing and that more charges may be coming. Merrow added that the school told him that Sierra was working with an advocacy group. Is that what they're calling MS-13 now? To obtain protected legal status in the United States. He said that investigators believe that Sierra's real birth date is March 27th, 2001, while the Venezuelan national claimed to be born December 2nd, 2007, when he first moved to enroll in high school in November 2023. What a scam. Let's see. Sierra obtained a guardian family, which was contacted last week by a woman who she said had a child with him and that he was lying about his identity. The guardian family then contacted the school, which reached out to the police department on Monday. So the guardian family, were they happy to get rid of him? Were they living in terror of the high school student who's not really a high school student? I don't know. The school district said they were heartbroken when they found out they had allowed a 24-year-old male to attend school among young teenagers. You can tell the difference between a 24-year-old and a 17-year-old. I mean, there's a few maybe. Like, who was that guy who they just kicked him out of from the chair of the DNC? What was his name? Like, maybe he could pass for 17. Let's see. The school district said they were heartbroken. They should be angry. They should be outraged. This is how you know that they knew it all along and they're just faking it. They were heartbroken when they found out. You should be angry. Like, people should be fired for that. There's not supposed to be 24-year-old males, illegal immigrant males that you know literally nothing about in high school among teenagers. That somebody should be getting fired. A bunch of people should be getting fired. 24-year-old male to attend school among young teenagers. And you know what the saddest thing is? 24 years old in high school. He still can't read. That's the saddest thing. The saddest thing of all. It's so sad. All right. What are you guys saying? I went hard. On that poor kid. I went hard on this poor kid. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Rosie says, my husband says you're privileged. He let me stop making sandwiches long enough to turn Radio Baloney on Rumble. It's working. It's working. All right. Since they are on vacation. David Hogg. That's who it is. Thank you, Rosie. Yeah. No, David Hogg could go back and like be like a, like a high school senior again, or even junior, I guess, really. It could be like a old Michael J. Fox movie. He could do it, but most could. I just find that most people can't. Rosie says, husband and I got carded for R-rated movie when we were 37 years old. Limit was 18 years old. Well, that's very impressive. That's very impressive. I think though, I hate to tell you this. But I think they have a rule where, like if you look younger than, what was it? Somebody was telling me this. This was ages ago. They're saying if you look younger than like 50, they have to card you. Something like that. I don't know. In any case, feel good. Feel good about it. It's good. All right. What else we got going on? Let's go back to the And enjoy your vacation, by the way. What are you doing watching the show on vacation? For God's sakes. All right. All right, let's just get into it then. How long are we into this? 22 minutes already. Okay. Let's just go. Let's look at some memes here. So here's a Canadian meme. So that's Cardi, Gilbo, Christian Freeland. And I guess it's AI that's doing these things really quickly now. But they're good. It does. But would I know that it's AI that did it? Because this looks like just like an old thing, right? Like an old cartoon. But in any case, it's all the elbows up Canadians there, and they're being laughed at because they were tricked. They were tricked. They deserve to be laughed at by these people. They tricked them good, but good. What if I told you I forgot what I told you? What if I told you I forgot what I told you? We would believe it. We would believe it. Although best wishes. I'm here for the Border Patrol job, says Crocodile. And he looks serious about it, too. Well, that's kind of terrifying. Why not, though? Didn't Trump want moats with crocodiles in them? I always thought that was a great idea. That would stop me. Let's see. Spambot says, I have nearly ZZ Top beard and I still get carded. It does happen. Princess Baloney gets carded all the time, too. Rosie says, yeah, I think the 17-year-old blonde just didn't know what to do. Eureka's like, yeah, I would hire that croc. Spambot says, I think sometimes they're just confused, those poor children. Let's see. Yeah, Trump wanted like moats, I believe. And maybe it was crocodiles with lasers shooting out of their eyes. I can't remember, although it's a capital idea. If you can do this, I'm sure Elon Musk come up with some sort of robotic crocodile with lasers that shoot from the eyes. Why not? Why not? You want to keep the border secure. Let's see. Climatard, a person that believes the climate can be changed by paying a carbon tax to the government. People apparently do believe this. The carbon tax is just the biggest scam. It really is. It is just a total grift from the government. It's just a way to extract money from the public. That's it. From the public, from industry, although the public, the people who buy everything end up paying for it in the end anyway. But it's a total scam. It does nothing. It achieves absolutely nothing. They can't even say that they, reduced, emissions by 2% or something. Not that that would make any difference. I mean, if just removing Canada off the map would make absolutely no difference to the global climate, a 2% reduction is going to do less than nothing. It's pointless. It is pointless, right? That's what it comes down to. It's utterly pointless and a waste of time and resources. But they don't even do that. Canada's emissions went up during, Trudeau's 10 years. So you can't even offer just that illusory bit of progress. I guess they'd call it progress. You can't even offer that. It's just a grift. It's a way to steal your money and nothing else. Literally, there is nothing else. There's no other result from it. It produces nothing else. It just produces harder lives for people and money for the government to waste and for politicians to enrich themselves on. What's this? The weakest men compete with girls. The weakest minds celebrate it. There is so much truth to this statement. The weakest minds celebrate it. Yes, the most undisciplined thinkers celebrate it. Because, look, it's something that's just simply so obvious, right? The only thing that it's got going for it, this idea that men can become women or women can become men, the only thing it has going for it is just ideology. It's just political fashion. That's it. It's a silly made-up idea. Gender has been redefined into just simply an infinite series of abstractions, totally untethered from reality. It doesn't really, it's just imagination land. That's it. It is just simply the case that a man cannot become a woman. It doesn't matter if you turn them into some sort of half-formed facsimile of it. They're still not. Like we are a sexually dimorphic species. We're a sexually reproducing, sexually dimorphic species, male and female. End of story. This idea that you're born in the wrong body is so strange as well. Like, you're never going to have any other body. I mean, you're the result of this unbroken chain of reproduction over the eons to result in what you are, and you could never be anything else. And maybe that's something to embrace, you know? I mean, if you want to see yourself as unique or whatever, yeah, you can use that train of logic. And in fact, it is true. Everybody is unique in some way. You don't have to pretend to be something that you're not. The weakest mind celebrate it. Yes. It's no different. It is literally no different than if somebody tells you that they think that they're Napoleon and you just agree with them. You just decide to agree with them. I mean, it's all of the same arguments can be applied. People know when they're Napoleon or not. I mean, there's no difference. Zero difference, like philosophically or ideologically. Like, people know when they're Rasputin. Who are you to judge? It's lived experience. It's my lived experience that I'm Genghis Khan. Like, there is as much evidence to support that assertion than there is for anybody to say that they are born in the wrong body, that they're a man, but they should be a woman, or they're really a woman, or they've always been a woman, or they've always been a man, blah, 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 blah. It's the same shit. There is no difference. It's all made up. And anybody really, except perhaps just the most stupid of people, can recognize this. So why do they go along with it? Political fashion, cowardice, whatever. But it's not being, having a strong mind. So the weakest men compete with girls. The weakest minds celebrate it. Yes, they do. The problem is that when you get people to believe things that are totally absurd, there's really no end to what you can get them to be okay with. That's really the danger in having a society that doesn't make sense, that is irrational, right? Where it is just simply ruled by political correctness. And political correctness is not a grassroots movement. It's never comes from the grassroots. It's always top down. They want you to believe, the people in power want you to believe it for a reason, for their reasons. There was never a grassroots movement to pretend that 5-year-olds are born in the wrong body because they said so. So anyway, yeah, I think it's stupid. I think it's so stupid. All right, what's this? Jones memes. I hope this isn't offensive. Select all squares containing a dishwasher. Oh my God. Well, I never. That is offensive. I cannot approve of this. I cannot approve of this. That's simply too offensive. That is the patriarchy right here. When I'm talking about the patriarchy, guys, when I'm warning you about the patriarchy, this is what I'm talking about. This kills people. This is genocide. This joke, this meme. This is what I'm talking about. Dishwasher. Women are not actual dishwashers. Anyway, it's funny. I like it because it's funny. What's this? Gays for Islam. No to Islamophobia. No to racism and fascism. Yes to equality and diversity. LGBT against Islamophobia. When do they throw us off the building? Soon. Soon. As long as they're able to. As soon as they have the power, they will throw you off the rooftops. Don't worry. Let's see, Islam for gays. Yes, yes. So this is, I don't know if this is Iran. I know in Tehran, they have a history of hanging gay people in public. So let's see. There they are. Here they are. Here they are before, let's see, equality and diversity. And here they are after. So there you go. LGBT against Islamophobia. Once that Islamophobia has been completely wiped away, wiped out of the Western world, there you go. There you go. So they like this is such a strange phenomenon, right? So they must kind of know, like they must have some idea that like they're not welcome there, right? Like there's no pride parades in Tehran or in Baghdad or in Riyadh. There's no pride parades in Qatar, certainly in Gaza or the West Bank. Like they must know that there's a reason for that because they don't like them. So is it the phenomenon where white leftists see everybody who's not them as junior members of humanity, like not quite human, not as human as them? So they have this kind of matriarchal view of the world. Even the leftist men are kind of see themselves as mother figures, right? So they have to be the mothers for these poor people who could never, be as human as they are. So they must be taken care of. These are people who are incapable of ever sorting anything out themselves. Dealing with any kind of cultural issues or crime or anything like that, or constantly railing about how they want to genocide the Jews and stuff. They're just incapable of not doing that because of their nature, according to these people, white leftists. So maybe the reason they're not afraid is that they don't see them as fully human. And I think that is the case. I think they see everybody who's not them as junior members of humanity. It's pretty idiotic because it's just clear. It's just clear that they may be for Islam, but Islam is not for them. So I don't know. Doing lots of maybe we should be doing these memes at the start every time. It's kind of fun, actually. Let's see. Europe, watering Islam, and then yes, you have like the reason that these exist is because they're based in reality. Reality. So, I mean, these sorts of characters will just cover their eyes and plug their ears and no, 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 no. Because it's just so terrifying to think anything that somebody might construe as conservative or at least, not batshit crazy far left. Let's see. If printing money would end poverty, printing diplomas would end stupidity. Javier Milei. I think he's quite right about that, as a matter of fact. I think he's quite right about that. Especially if your diploma is for transgender basket weaving. Let's see. Retards for Palestine. So I'm guessing this was retouched. This was photoshopped here. Yeah. The outrage is next level. No, you can't just arrest judges. Your side literally arrested a president. But you see, it's different though when it's them. It's different when it's them. All right. Also, I mean, when they actually break the law, that's another thing too. Let's see. Save the wolves, pro-wolf. Yes, so this reminds us of these idiots. Here. They're basically, save the wolves. These are sheep protesting for wolves. What's this one here? Liberals, literally anything at all. Curse you, Donald Trump. Crazy. The world is crazy. Let's see. Save the wolves or anything else. Cry about arrested judges. No one is above the law. Uh-oh. That's a tough one. Liberals, yes. A very tough one. Thing is, it's not actually tough for them because they've been trained to have no principles. So what you have to understand about the modern left is that they don't believe or care if things are true or not. They don't even believe in everything's relativism. They don't believe in objective reality. They don't care if things are true or not. They just care about whether it furthers their cause. That's it. So they have no principles. They don't really care. If it feels like they can define it as progressive, more left wing, it's good. If it can be interpreted as conservative in any way, bad. And so that's why, they are against every single thing that any conservative politician ever does, right? Obviously, Donald Trump, they are opposed to everything he has ever done or said. If he says that, if he comes out in favor of water, they're going to be against it. A striking example was Operation Warp Speed. And we'll leave aside everything around the jab, right? But just the reaction from the left was, I wouldn't take that. Not if it's Donald Trump. I wouldn't take that Trump jab. Absolutely, I wouldn't trust that. To the second he was no longer president, you are a right-wing fascist, blah, 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 fill in the blank, white supremacist, blah, 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 blah. If you have any questions about it whatsoever, overnight, they don't care. They have no principles. It's just about power. Right? It's why I used to be shocked at how quickly the left abandoned free speech. That, this was like a central pillar of liberalism. And just overnight, it seemed. Overnight, nope, censorship, hate speech, blah, 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 blah. Overnight, all of a sudden, they did not care about. In fact, they were very against free speech very quickly. It turns out they were never actually liberals at all. It was always just about political fashion. There were never any principles involved. You can count the number of real liberals on one hand now, like, I don't know, like a Brett Weinstein and a couple others. But you can't even actually classify them as liberal anymore. The old definitions are obsolete now. There's no point using them. Really, it comes down to just sane versus crazy. So, radical progressive versus sane. That's it. And just anybody, the old labels are completely useless and pointless now. So you're just not in the crazy. You're not progressive. You're in the sane group. Let's see. What do we got going on here? It's getting closer, faster. Illuminati bot. What's this? Dad? Get the horsemen. I guess that would be the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Dad? Get the horsemen. I love it. This is a genius one. We're going to have to revisit this in the future. Dad, get the horsemen. This time it's personal. Let's see. You have to stay in a cabin for 1 month. You have food and water, but no internet, smartphone, or TV. On the last day, you walk out with $100,000. Would you do it? Yes, obviously I would do it. Any sane person would do this. Let's see. There's no way I could live without internet, smartphone, or TV for a month. I could do that for $100,000. You know what? I'd take a bunch of books It says nothing about not taking books. I take notepads. I'd write scripts for shows. I don't normally do that. Occasionally, I'm actually getting back to starting to do that a little bit. For like, I've got a page here I've written about Elon Musk. Even when I do like, which I haven't done in a while, but I used to do like 7 pages, but that was like handwritten, but that was still literal. That would still be like, I don't know, 10 minutes out of the show, out of like a 15 minutes, maybe out of like a 4-hour live stream. But I do find that there's certain things that it helps me to write something down beforehand. I've only got something written for one topic and one video tonight, but we'll see if it works out good. I don't know. But in any case, yeah, that's what I would do. Obviously, 1 month. I mean, I was alive and an adult when there was no internet, smartphones. There was TV. But, there wasn't that much on it. So be there for a month, get $100,000 for just like hanging out with some cows and like reading and going for walks, doing some hiking. I don't know. That sounds good. You'd get back home feeling so refreshed and good and probably the most sane that you'd felt in years, I'm guessing. Anyway, I don't know. It's just a no-brainer. What I've got here, let's see. All right, we already did this one, but I like this one too. Americans calling anyone they want gay and retarded. Got that 1A. British people in jail for social media posts. Yes, that is a sad truth. What's become of Britain is just really genuinely sad, I have to say. All right. Let's get back to the chat, then we'll move along. Let's see. Turtles, how you doing, Turtles? Good afternoon. Here in Washington State, there is a purchase of 5 plug-in ferries for $1.3 billion. Huh. Well, I hope they work out. Hope they work out. Let's see. Spambot says, I believe he's talking about the net zero stuff here. It achieves this on the carbon taxes. It makes everyone closer to zero money. Yes, that's net zero for you in a nutshell. Closer to zero money. Again, 10 years of Trudeau. You would have thought that, we would have had global climbing solved by now. It would have been over. Just like, the global warming. Global warming. You would have thought that'd be out of the papers by now in 10 years of Justin Trudeau. And it's Canada. Canada, the most powerful country on earth. You think it'll all be solved right now? Nothing to worry about. I don't think there is anything to worry about, by the way, but just, going along with the media. Yeah, actually, emissions went up during Trudeau. If you needed further evidence that it's all just a scam to get your money. Let's see. Turtle says, so many feminine men. So many feminine men. Yes. Yes, that's the way that the communists want them to be. Turtle says, joined a Facebook page that welcomed all parties, and I got kicked out for fact-checking them and was called a troll. When they say all parties, they welcome everyone. They mean everyone that they agree with on everything. Let's see. Turtle says, birth certificate in some states don't assign sex. But I think Trump has remedied that, actually. And I think there's some videos now where people complaining about how they got their latest passport, and it had the real sex on it. And I think all that stuff is getting sorted by Trump. But maybe not. I mean, the blue states fight everything all the way along, especially if it's in any way reflecting as sanity. Rosie says, Turtle, so sorry you're a troll. We think you are a lovely troll and applaud you muchly. Muchly. That's how Trump would applaud you muchly. Will we get enough people on this stream tonight to do an ad read? I don't know. Hopefully people start showing up. All right. Hold on. Spambot says underwater basket weaving. That's another good humanities degree. Turtles asked, did anyone see the graduation ceremony that turned ghetto? Another round of gender studies crew that will be jobless, just like the kids that walked out of Starbucks for uniforms. It's really criminal what they're doing. Selling these kids these worthless degrees, but it's so much worse than that because they're sending them back out into the world as idiots, as totally unknowledgeable about the world, or totally mistaken. Like they're teaching them lies. They're teaching them to be unable to recognize reality and truth. They're sending them into the world with a totally warped view of the world and themselves and their place in it, which is, I think, the worst crime of all, even beyond the stealing of their money. Essentially, it's stealing. Giving people worthless degrees is essentially stealing from them. But they're not just stealing money, they're stealing their future from them. Turtle says, plain, awful, and sad. But the graduation ceremony, I think I've seen a few of them, and yeah, I think it sends the wrong message. I think that it sends the wrong message. Let's see. Turtle says, I'd take a fishing pole and books. Yeah, no problem with that. Let's see. Rosie says, may I go for many months? Definitely books. I know. Yeah, that nice place where you have to be for a month with no internet, no smartphone or TV, and you get $100,000 for a month. If that place existed, the lineup would be like around the world. Let's see. All right. Ottawa James, good to see ya. Hey, Nickerson, good to see you too. He says, another sign of communism. They're really all over the place now. Everywhere you look, you can't really get away from those signs of communism. They are pretty much everywhere. All right. Let's move on. So Elon Musk. Elon Musk is for sure the most entertaining billionaire that's ever lived. Let's see. This guy says, Elon Musk is not playing around in this interview. I was born in South Africa, but cannot get a license to operate in Starlink because I'm not black. Does that seem right to you? So Elon Musk is asking this of a journalist. So let's take a look at this. And this is another prime example of framing, right? Just like where we were looking at the Palm Springs IVF clinic bomber. And I showed you the LA Times article about it, where down at the end of the article, they started talking about how it was frightening for LGBTQ people, which just has absolutely nothing to do with it. But it's framing the story, right? Of course, there's no mention of far left extremism or far left terrorism in the story, of course, right? Even though this guy was clearly a left winger who didn't want there to be any human life on the planet. And here's a clue. Somebody's not MAGA when they want there to be no people on the earth. That's a clue they're not MAGA. That's a clue they might be some sort of far left lunatic, because these are, very left-wing themes. Too many people, blah, 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 people bad. That exists entirely solely on the left. But in the LA Times article about it, no, Of course, and nowhere will you see anything far left extremist, anything. Apparently it doesn't exist except for like every mass shooting in the last like 4 years. And this, and the Chaz, and the Summer of Love. What they would have us believe it doesn't exist. But in that LA Times article, just seemingly just as a total non sequitur, they start talking about LGBTQ, and it's to give you the impression, it's to frame it as if somehow this is a right-wing thing. It's a bad thing, and somehow right-wingers, evil right-wingers, are responsible for it. So it's the framing technique, and it's now just basically that is a journalist's job, is framing, not informing, framing, and we'll see an example of it here. Let's take a look.
Not otherwise. And so now I'm in this absurd situation where I was born in South Africa but cannot get a license to operate in Starlink because I'm not black.
Well, it looks
Does
like
that
that's
seem
about.
right
Look,
to
it
you?
looks
Does
like
seem
that.
right to you?
Looks like that's about to change.
I just asked you a question. Please answer. Does that seem right to you?
Well, those rules were designed to bring.
Yes or no?
Those rules were designed to bring about an era of more economic equality in South Africa, and it looks like the government has found a way around those rules for you.
I asked you a question.
This is your interview. Everyone wants to hear from you.
I asked you a question. Yes or no?
Not
Racist
for me.
laws, yes or no?
Not for me to answer. I have got a question for you about your government work though and the amount of savings.
Why do you like racist laws?
This is not for me to answer. Come on.
Yes, it is.
Now, you wouldn't be trying to dodge a question.
So you have to
that
ask a
is difficult
question.
for
I
you
answered
to
my
answer,
question. No, you answer. Not otherwise. And
So what he's doing here, he's well aware of the framing. He's trying to break her narrative, right? And we've got another example here. Let's take a look. Yes, and here Elon Musk just called the reporter an NPC. So, yeah, he's kind of had it with journalists. He's not under any illusions about what their purpose is now.
You've talked about $4 billion a day being saved, but that won't get, which is, and I think everyone can agree that combating waste and inefficiency in government is a very good thing. But if you add that up, it's not going to get to 2 trillion over the lifetime of Doge.
I'm sorry.
The 4 billion a day, if Doge is going to run till next July, is not going to get you to $2 trillion. But you still say it's your aim, so we'll take that as read.
There's what Doge. I mean, I feel you're somewhat trapped in the NPC dialogue tree of a traditional journalist. So it's difficult when I'm conversing with someone who's trapped in the dialogue tree of a conventional journalist, because it's like talking to a computer. Doge is an advisory group. We are doing the best we can as an advisory group. The progress made thus far as an advisory group is excellent. I don't think any advisory group has done better in the history of advisory groups for the government. We do not make the laws, nor do we control the judiciary, nor do we control the executive branch. We are simply advisors. In that context, we are doing very well. Beyond that, we cannot we cannot take action beyond that, because we are not some sort of imperial dictator of the government. Mm-hmm. There are 3 branches of government that are to some degree opposed to that level of cost savings. But nonetheless, let's not criticize whether there's 4 trillion, and instead look at the fact that 160 billion has been saved, and more will be saved too.
160 billion. Right? Doesn't see, it's not that the media is trying in good faith and just simply, failing to inform the public. It's that objectivity and integrity are just never on the table in the first place. It's about framing, and often just outright deception in service to this, pre-decided narrative. And that's what she's doing here. She's framing. She's trying to frame it negatively, but also, too, framing Doge as something that it's not. right? It's in an advisory role. It doesn't have the power to actually do anything itself, right? So in a society in which merit has become basically a dirty word for the elites, it's certain that there are many journalists, maybe this one, simply have no idea that Doge is just an advisory body with no authority to cut anything, that they just advise the agencies who ultimately make the decisions, right? They're just advising. Of course, I mean, she may be one of the journalists who just literally has no idea what she's talking about. It's just, she understands the narrative, she's told what to do and she just does it, right? You certainly will have, there certainly are journalists who know what they're doing and are doing it, knowingly. They knowingly are lying to the public. You have, activist judges, obviously, who seem to feel like they have more power than the president and are operating just on ideological grounds or the whims of political fashion, whatever, for the people. They have to answer to the people at their dinner parties. But certainly there are many, many who know what they're doing, pretend not to know, and are happy just to manipulate over inform. And that is the job now, manipulation over informing, right? So in short, it's rigged. So when Elon Musk is talking to people like this, it's just rigged. And the only remedy to this is to strip them of audience and funds and to call them out publicly, which, when done well, it does both, and it works. We've seen that. I mean, I think that is what's responsible for the rise of new media. Independent media is what was really responsible for Trump 2024. It probably couldn't have happened. It probably couldn't have happened without Elon Musk buying X, quite frankly. So this is a great lesson, right? In that, I mean, does this journalist, it seems like this is a pretty big deal. Like this, whatever this is, this in conversation with Elon Musk, it seems like I think this is a Bloomberg thing, probably. It's like a pretty big deal, right? So she should know. She's asking the questions of Elon Musk, who is not just some guy. She should know that Elon Musk is not personally making cuts and that he's failing to make the cuts that he promised. No, he's advising. He's advising, and $160 billion in savings already is very impressive. But she has to frame it negatively, that he's failing in some way. That's the job. That's her job. And when you see it, it's so obvious, right? But it's also, it's hard to believe. I think that I was going to show you this Victor Davis Hanson video on one of the live streams, and I think we didn't get to it. So I think we should probably show it now because I think we missed it. This is posted by the Vigilant Fox. Victor Davis Hanson just delivered a scathing indictment of the media, exposing how 96% of their coverage of Elon Musk is nothing more than a smear campaign. It's gotten so outrageous, it's almost incomprehensible, unfathomable. Well, that's what we think, right? We agree with that. I do anyway. I suspect a bunch of you do as well. Let's take a look.
I've been critical of the media, as many of you are, but recently it's jumped the proverbial shark. In other words, it's gotten so outrageous, it's almost incomprehensible, unfathomable. Elon Musk, according to the Media Research Center, has had 96% unfavorable coverage in our American media. What did he do that was so wrong? He rescued astronauts who were stranded in space. Tesla has revolutionized the electric vehicle industry. Social media is open and free due to his acquisition of X. Starlink has more satellites, that private entity that he created. It has more satellites than the governments of the United States, all of the EU countries, and China combined. It is the world's methodology of accessing high-speed internet from remote places or anywhere. So what has he done wrong?
Well, he's for free speech, which is why journalists hate him, right? They're not in favor of it. Journalists are now the enemy of free speech. They're the enemy of the voice of the people. Flat out. It's not my opinion, right? They tell us this. They tell us this on the news. They tell us this in their articles. They tell us this. They're not ashamed of it. They like it, right? Anything that doesn't come from them is misinformation, apparently. They even write books gaslighting about their aversion to reality. Right, like Jake Tapper with his new book about how the media was just totally fooled, totally conned by Biden and the Biden administration. I mean, how could anybody really have known that Joe Biden was demented? I don't know. We knew it here. We were making videos about it in 2020, about he was obviously demented. So a lot of people knew. In fact, it's probably... we should probably go here to Megyn Kelly because she's talking about this very thing. Where is she? There she is. All right. She's talking to Jake Tapper. The gaslighting never ends. Jake Tapper and his friends must genuinely believe that the public are just complete idiots.
The Wall Street Journal get it in June of 2024, and Jake Tapper and CNN couldn't find sources for this story then before he dropped out?
Annie Linsky and Siobhan Hughes did an amazing job in their reporting, and they should be heralded, and I heralded them. I had them on my show right after the debate to talk about their great reporting. But Annie Linsky...
the debate, but you did not put them on when they published that story, which was before the debate.
Correct. I don't know what the booking situation was, but it wasn't because I didn't want them. I'm sure I said that day, let's book. I'm sure.
I think it was absolutely because he didn't want them. That's what I think.
I said that day, let's book that. Did they?
Yeah, you put on a Democrat and you allowed the Democrat to rip on the report as a Rupert Murdoch sponsored hit piece.
No.
It's just
Megyn.
That's
Megyn,
what happened.
If we're going to do this, let's just stick to the facts here, okay? When there is a damaging report...
That's what I've been doing all along.
I'm talking about what you just said.
Didn't miss the biggest story of the century when it comes to presidential politics, and one of us did.
Okay. So
let's just deal with the facts. Like, let's see, Russia collusion, Biden laptop, insurrection. Sure.
There is a difference, okay, between the clips of Joe Biden falling on a stage at the Air Force Academy graduation. There was
actually, I want to go back there to what she said again. Hold on.
That's
Megyn,
what happened.
if we're going to do this, let's just stick to the facts here, okay? When there is a damaging report,
that's what I've been doing all along.
I'm talking about what you just said.
Didn't miss the biggest story of the century when it comes to presidential politics, and one of us did.
One of us didn't miss the biggest story in presidential politics, and one of us did. The guy who's writing the book about it now, about how he apparently was so credulous that he just believed everything that came out of the White House, despite his own, what he could see and hear himself, despite the evidence of his own eyes and ears. That was perfect. She absolutely nailed him there.
Okay. So there is a difference, okay, between the clips of Joe Biden falling on a stage at the Air Force Academy graduation. There is a difference between the clip of Joe Biden embarrassingly forgetting that a Republican member of Congress who he's talking about.
The thing about this is, if he could actually just continue, like if we're talking about the clips, shada de pressure, if he just was talking, we're just talking about the clips, like he could just keep going. Like we're talking about a clip of him falling off his bike and forgetting that somebody's dead and shaking hands with a ghost. Like, he could just keep going for about 3 hours, right? But he'll just say a few. But you could just see, this is why some people like Megyn Kelly, and also like this channel for like 6 years had it right, and Jake Tapper had it wrong.
Has died. Those are embarrassing. Those are important. But there is a difference between that and the investigative journalism that Alex and I were able to do, and only able to do, after the election. And I know you know this because you've been talking about the scoops in the book, and you've been talking about.
I don't diminish the importance of the book. I don't. I have supported the.
Was he unable to recognize the obvious before the election? Like, I don't know, like every person who wasn't lying to themselves did?
Importance of the book, and we'll talk about the contents of the book at length. But there is no way we can have that conversation with an audience that is as skeptical of your ability to tell the story as mine is, without addressing your role in this, right? Like, Alex is a different story, but you've watched the coverage since it came out that you wrote this book. There's a legion of articles about how comparing you in some instances to like OJ. Instead of if I did it, this is if I hid it.
If I did it, if I hid it. If I hid it. Jake Tapper, if I hid it. This is what I would have done. The hilarious thing about this is that it's not just that apparently he was just utterly and totally credulous and just putty in the hands of like the press secretary. It's that he actively attacked people who stated the obvious. Doesn't this seem to be like the really at heart, the foundation of everything now is just people telling the truth, the obvious truth being attacked by leftist politicians, by the media. Just people stating the obvious truth being attacked by the narrative makers. That really is just like the foundation of everything now, isn't it? If you tell the truth, if you notice reality, right, you get attacked because it's politically incorrect. Jake Tapper didn't just not notice. He just had no idea. How could anybody know? It's that he actively attacked anybody who suggested what was obvious. It's really something else. Really something else, isn't it? Let's check out the chat for a second. All right. Let's see. Okay, I think I found where I left off. A. Nickerson says, Elon Musk is an adulterer with Amber Heard. I'm willing to cut him a break. He's kind of like a modern, like Howard Hughes, but like times 10. And apparently there's no long toenails or, jars of urine yet. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But I don't know. I'm cutting him a break. Let's see. JJ Nevada says, Elon is a mega tapper. He's already got like 30 kids. He does. I'm willing to cut him a break on this stuff, honestly. I think he's done an enormous amount of good. Just, if there's like, 30, Elons, that are, half as creative as Elon. They're not going to be. That never happens. I know, but maybe a couple. Rosie says, like talking to a computer. Great comment. Could call his answers mansplaining, except it is not that she's a woman. It is that she is a poor journalist. Thing is, she's not. She's good at what she's hired to do, which is not be a journalist. It's to frame, right? To frame everything. It's narrative control. That's her job. And, I don't know. I mean, the problem is when you're lying all the time, it's hard to be a good liar. And when you're constantly just misleading, but your job is just to mislead, like it's kind of tough to do, I think, all the time. I mean, because it's just easier if you're saying things that are true or that make sense. Let's see. A. Nickerson says, I hope we don't see an Elon Musk 2.0. Well, what's that? Would that be like Elon Musk's brain, like in a robot, like in a jar on top of a robot, like in Futurama? I don't know. I kind of want to see that. But you know what else I want? The same thing everybody wants. Still haven't tried 1775 coffee? Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped. Only 1,000 units. That's exclusive, my friends. No commies allowed. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits harder than a CNN fact check. I would rewrite that part myself. The smooth medium roast, the vitality mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus. No crash and no commies. All single origin, small batch, toxin free and mold free, and also Marxism free. Plus, you're also getting, you'll never believe this, a gold spoon clip, because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. A frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's political opinions, and a black 1775 tumbler that says, I don't take life advice or caffeine from a woke sea witch, especially not if she's a commie. $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for $99. That's hard to believe. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio. You're going to need that /studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something, just like Rumble does. Start your day with coffee that actually backs what you believe and isn't made by a bunch of dirty, filthy commies. There we go. There we go, people. Let's see. Get back to the chat for a second. Nevada says, I don't think he was paid for all that work he did. No, he wasn't. And he doesn't need the money. He doesn't need it. He's doing it for, for principle. Izzy's late. That's okay. We've still got a while left. Nickerson says, space rescue was fake. Why do you hate Elon Musk? Nickerson, why do you hate Elon Musk? It's okay. I don't, you can hate whoever you want. But let's see. Izzy got like number 5. You get, I'm a generous, you get 1.1 good karma. It's slightly more, but you never know. You never know. It might just tip it over into that thing where maybe you put on that old jacket you haven't worn in 5 years and there's $10 in the pocket. I don't know. It's good karma. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's see. Nickerson says, late, better late than not at all. And that's good. And no mention of Elon Musk in that one either. So I applaud you. Let's see. DM on X. Edit here. Well, let me take a look. Hold on. Wait a sec. Okay, that's not too long. I'll add that one in. There we go. All right. Hold on one second, everybody. Let's see. Oh, we got a few people watching on X. Had some views on X. Okay, that's good. 100 people over there. Very nice. All right. Where was I? Okay, we're doing that. We're doing chat work right now. Let's see. So I got that spam bot. Don't you worry. That's coming up. Ottawa James says, fake tapper. just the gaslighting from these people. It's truly astonishing. Let's see. Rosie's off for dinner. Enjoy your vacation, Rosie. Let's see. Nickerson says, I saw a video that accused Jim Carrey was doing Joe's fall scenes. What does that mean? Let's see. It always seems that we are in a movie. You know, I have that often, A. Nickerson, like where I just think like, it can't be real. The stuff I'm seeing in the news, like the stuff I'm covering for you guys, it can't be real. Like it can't, like child sex changes can't be like the law of the land in Canada. Like that can't be real. Like, is this, like, am I having some sort of weird dream or nightmare or something? Like, it's just so strange. Like, all right, let's move on. Turtle says, love how Elon called out Bill Gates in Qatar, or Qatar. I used to say Qatar, but apparently it's Qatar. Let's see. Lisa says, we don't have the script, and we don't. But it is weird, right? It is weird. I wonder if we're like in a Matrix or something sometimes. It's just too strange. The stuff that we're seeing, it doesn't make sense.
I've been critical of them.
Okay, so do we have anything else? Okay, so we don't need anything else there. Let's go here. So I want to show you guys Marco Rubio. So Libs of TikTok posted this. Secretary of State Marco Rubio just demolished Democrat Senator Tim Kaine over the persecuted South African refugees. You don't like the fact that they're white. This is the most obvious statement that you can make. I mean, this really gets to the heart of it, right? Why doesn't he like the fact that they're white? Is it that he has some just deeply ingrained out-group preference? Is it purely politics and purely narrative? Just total and utter degenerate cynicism. You guys can make up your own mind on that. It's not good either way, though, is it? Let's take a look.
Statutory phrase says you are entitled to entrance as a refugee if you demonstrate a well-justified fear of persecution.
No, you're not entitled.
So can you have a different standard based upon the color of somebody's skin? Would that be acceptable?
Well, I'm not the one arguing that. Apparently you are, because you don't like the fact that they're white, and that's why they're coming.
Say that would statutory phrase.
Yeah. Mask off. Mask off. 60 people. All of this, all of the fuss, all of the freakouts in the media for 60 people. 60 people. You know, well, 20 million people crossed the border illegally under Biden. They're all in big support. 60 people from South Africa, 60 white South Africans. And all of a sudden they care about immigration. Like, it's total mask off, is it not? It's actually astonishing. Again, this is like, what is happening? Can this be real? Like, it's so obvious. It's so obvious. It's also so deeply, deeply cynical. It's so obvious and transparent. It's just operating on the assumption that there's enough people stupid enough and credulous enough to trick, to make it worthwhile, to make it worth the effort. That's the whole foundation of this. Disturbing, I say. It tells you that there's a problem. Let's see. South African leader calls on black South Africans to forcibly seize the land of white farmers. So I wonder if this has anything to do with it.
So this Expropriation Act, Section 25, all of them, they must fall. We want expropriation of land without compensation to be under the custodian of the state. So fighters of Tshwane, fighters of Mamelodi, Soshanguve, Atteridgeville, the message is clear. When you see any unoccupied land, go and occupy that land until all our land has been returned back to the owners of our land. Amanda! Amanda! Viva EFF, viva! Viva EFF, viva! Manda!
Most most of the people there now had nothing to do with that land when the Boers first got there. It was totally unoccupied. They were attracted there because there was money, because there was a civilization. They had things like electricity, for instance, right? Like, so this is all bullshit. This is race communism. What about how about this? What's this guy saying? He's in South Africa. What's this guy saying? I'm sure he's got a nice, wholesome message.
We'll kill the children, we'll kill the women, we'll kill anything that we find on our women's rights. We kill the children, we kill the women, we kill their dogs, we kill their cats,
we kill their women, we kill their children, we kill their dogs. So, I don't know. This would kind of make me want to get the hell out of there. This might make me feel like I needed to leave to get my family the hell out of there. And you also notice with the South African refugees that it's families. It's not just a bunch of military-aged men. So you can see here on the right, this is who the Democrats loved coming in, and they reserve all of their empathy for all of these military-aged men by themselves. Here's families, like little kids, right? Like, do you want these kids at the mercy? Who wants the kids at the mercy of this guy, Julius Malema, leader of the fourth biggest political party in South Africa? You can see there is a stadium full of about 100,000 people. Do you want those people at the mercy of this guy?
Alliance. Shoot to kill. Gamaza. Kill the poor. The farmer. Kill the poor. The farmer. Brrr.
Shoot to kill the boar, the farmer, he says. So what does Marco Rubio say to this level of, really, I would say, maybe I'm coining this, degenerate cynicism. Degenerate cynicism. I think I just made that up.
Statutory phrase says you are entitled to entrance as a refugee if you demonstrate a well-justified fear of persecution.
No, you're not entitled.
So can you have a different standard based upon the color of somebody's skin? Would that be acceptable?
Well, I'm not the one arguing that. Apparently you are, because you don't like the fact that they're white, and that's why they're coming.
Say that would
I'm convinced when I see crazy psychopath shouting, kill the boar, shoot to kill the boar. When I see in front of like 100,000 people at a stadium, when I see this guy doing the same thing, saying, kill the women, kill the children, kill their dogs. Yeah, I'm kind of, I say that I'm sold on the whole South African refugee thing. I'm sold. These guys sold it. These guys are the best salespeople in the world for this. I know the New York Times would like to believe that these are all just old folk songs and stuff. Nothing to worry about. They don't really mean it. But I don't know. I tend to take people at their word. So I don't know. I mean, how is there even an issue on this? I mean, it's 60 people. 60 people. And this, I guess they're worried there'll be more. And it is because they're white. That's the only reason. The fact that they think that would be, that this level of, as I say, degenerate cynicism is a political winner for them tells you something. Tells you that there is something very wrong. Let's see. Turtle says, at least they aren't sleeping during this meeting. Nickerson says it means that Jim Carrey was so you're talking about the Jim Carrey doing Joe's Falls. It means that Jim Carrey was accused of doing every Biden Falls scene we saw on the plane, bike, and stage. I told you we are watching a movie. That would be funny, actually. Turtle says, what about the fake Vixen coming out with Jill? Dude was huge. I don't remember that. What was that in reference to? Turtle says, Biden, the fake Biden coming out with Jill. All right. Dude was huge. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah, he seemed taller. It was weird. I don't know. I mean, maybe he just had like lifts in his boots or something. I don't know. Maybe she normally wears high heels and she wasn't. I can't remember. I remember looking at the video back then, but it's a little fuzzy now. Turtle says they will starve by removing the farmers. Yes, just like in Zimbabwe. But they are race communists. So, by the way, they're racist against everybody. Like there are, like Indians there from India. They also are. They are also subject to the race laws and to horrible violence, that sort of thing. I think there's Chinese there, same thing. Just anybody who's not, and also too, I mean, just it's also tribal. You have like the Bantu and the Zulus, and they hate each other, and just immigrants from other parts of Africa end up meeting some nasty fates as well. It's an identitarian hellhole, is what it is. And mixed race, mixed white and black there. They suffer bad treatment as well. It's just an awful place. It's just an awful race communist hellhole. Let's see, but yeah, well, they will remove the farmers, and then they will starve. I think I've seen some reports that the land they have taken is just sitting fallow now because it's very hard work, and you've got people that have no idea what they're doing, and they just end up giving up and walking away. So it's a disaster waiting to happen. Let's see. Let's see. Turtles says Tim Pool posted a video of a couple that moved to Africa because of Trump, and now they are back. If you can find that on X, send that to the DM me that, and or post it on my timeline, and we'll show it. Nickerson says they are trying to starve the world. Well, there is a weird, there has been a weird attack on farmers in the UK, also in the Netherlands. They had the very big trucker protest inspired farmer protests there. So there is a weird thing with agriculture. But anyway, let's get back to it. So what are we talking about now? Let's talk about what happened today with Nancy Mace. This is from Not the Bee. So this was a weird story. I hadn't really paid much attention to it, but I just took a look today. Let's talk about what happened today with Nancy Mace. So she had said, today I will show you my naked body. So I saw this earlier. And apparently that blur over there is it. So I don't know. It might be a ghost. Today, Representative Nancy Mace posted this. She posted, yes, I'm going there. Today, I will show my naked body on one of those videos. A predator and R-wordist Patrick Bryant took of me and many other women without our knowledge, without our permission, and without our consent. But it's not really looking necessarily like that. So Patrick Bryant he's Nancy's ex-fiance. Bryant owns a software firm in Charleston. After getting engaged to Mace in 2022, 3 years after she divorced her second husband, they bought a swanky $4 million mansion together. Republican Nancy Mace jokes about turning down sex with her fiance so she could make it to Tim Scott's prayer breakfast. I don't know. I mean, you're not that Christian, if that's the case, right? Let's see. Most people don't know this background context. All they saw was Mace's tweet about showing her naked body in Congress, and that was enough for the memes to start. Let's see. U.S. Ministry of Truth. Grandmothers turning on C-SPAN today to see naked Nancy Mace on the House floor. I was intrigued when I first heard of this. I thought, this is a crazy story. Mace apparently broke off her engagement with Bryant after she found him playing the field on a dating app. Well, that hurts. Since then, she has accused him of being a pervert and an R-word, using her position because we're still on YouTube. I'm saying that. Even though we're all adults here and we can handle it, using her position as a U.S. Congresswoman to make him the poster boy for digital sexual abuse. Probably that just got the live stream demonetized anyway. What's the point in it all? What's the point? And maybe get him thrown in jail while she's at it. So she seems like she's on a mission. Representative Nancy Mace. Real men guard a woman's privacy. Predators harvest it. In my oversight hearing today, I'm going to expose predator and rapist Patrick Bryant for the monster he is, with evidence, naked bodies, legs spread apart, upskirt photos, the kinds of things he would film and photograph. So, all right, we haven't seen any of that. South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson said Mace's claim that his office is refusing to charge Bryant after she gave his people evidence is categorically false. Bryant's friend Brian Musgrave, another man on the poster behind Mace in the above video, is also suing Mace for defamation. So, is it feeling like, woman scorned stuff happening here? Exactly, because she didn't actually present any evidence to back her claims. This means either the Attorney General of South Carolina is trying to protect Mace's ex-fiancé and his friends, or there's actually no evidence of anything criminal. Nancy got her chance to show off nude, blurry photos of herself in Congress during a meeting of the House Oversight Committee's Subcommittee on Cybersecurity, Information Technology, and Government Innovation. I'll put a warning on here because apparently the photo is explicit, although no one can tell, so you can't really see anything there. Even if you look really close and squint really hard, you can't see anything. Mace is pushing for a bill, the Sue Voyeurs Act, that allows civil lawsuits for non-consensual nude pictures and videos, with the maximum penalty being $150,000 per violation. So, was that secret camera that she's alleging, it was a secret camera of her fiancé's, actually meant to film her while she walked naked around the house? Or did the owner of a software firm install security cameras that automatically record when they detect motion, and one of those cameras caught an occupant walking around? Well, that's the thing, right? Like, if you've got security cameras in your house, so like if you go away on vacation and you can, look in the house to make sure everything's in order in there. So is it just that it kind of just looks like that? Under legislation like this, which claims to protect constitutional rights to privacy, could you say sue your ex over blurry security photos? Pictures of you walking nude to the kitchen for a midnight snack might that be weaponized in ways that would be bad? I don't know, but Nancy Mace sure knows how to draw attention while the rest of Congress literally sleeps on the job. Let's see. Representative Debbie Dingell is asleep in the hearing room. Well, we have to see this.
Go back to work. Another source
She's out. Look at that. She's dreaming. I wonder what she's dreaming about. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the story was. The guy, sharing photos of her or something, or I don't. I mean, it doesn't seem like he's actually. Well, I mean, they're saying. I mean, the Attorney General of South Carolina is saying that her ex-fiance did absolutely nothing criminal. So I don't know. The whole thing seems, I have to be honest, it seems a little bit unhinged. A tad bit unhinged. I mean, it's a way of getting attention for sure. I don't know. What do you guys think about it? I prefer Fence Lady myself anyway. What are you guys saying? Let's go through the chat again. Let's see. Ottawa James says, Cricket Factory in Canada went bankrupt. It did. It did. Like, it pretty quickly. It turns out people don't want to eat crickets. I've always said this about eating bugs, right? Nobody wants to eat bugs unless there's literally nothing else. Like, I'll eat my shoe before I eat bugs. I'll eat shoe leather. I'll eat a leather jacket before I eat bugs. Yes, people around the world, yes, bugs are eaten around the world. You know what? When there's nothing else, they don't want to eat the bugs either. Because you can go to the poorest part of the world and say, look, they're eating bugs, therefore they're good. No, they'd be if they could get a steak, they'd be eating that. If they could get a Big Mac, they'd be eating that. It's literally the last thing they want to eat. There's just nothing else. So, yeah, I'm not buying the gaslighting on bugs, and neither is anybody else apparently. I mean, you can feed them to your lizard or something, right? Your iguana. That's fine. And apparently that, their exoskeleton, they call it chitin, I believe, it's not good for human bodies. Human digestive tract does not like it. Causes allergy problems. We're not supposed to be eating them unless we absolutely have to. I mean, if there's nothing else, there's absolutely nothing else, and I'm starving, and you give me a bowl of, roasted crickets, I'm eating them, sure. But I'd rather eat literally anything else. Turtle says, I don't like her. You talking about Nancy Mace? I don't know. She's seeming a bit unhinged, isn't she? Turtle says, eats the bugs. Nickerson says, I had steak tonight. Yum. Way better than crickets. Turtle says, made steamed veggies with couscous and fish bought steak from local farm, but 2 frozen. Oh, dear. Tomorrow is steak and potatoes. Well, it should have been steamed crickets with cricket couscous and then a delicious cricket steak afterwards. Let's see. And then roast potatoes with crumbled crickets on it. Minus the potatoes. Let's see. Turtle says she's worth $8 million. That's Nancy Grace, I guess. Or Debbie Dingwall. I don't know which one of those two. Anyway, Debbie Dingwall, it should be called Debbie Dingbat. Debbie Dingbat. For falling asleep like that. And just really obviously. Was the guy next to her sleeping too? Turtle says. That's even funnier. Let's see. Bamboo worms are tasty, Spambot says. No, I'm not eating those. I don't care if you say they're tasty. I'm not eating them. I won't eat the bugs, Ottawa James says. Yes, I refuse. Spambot Fodder says, my son bought some wasabi-flavored bamboo worms for my birthday a few years ago. Very hot and very tasty. I deeply disapprove of that. Ottawa James says, no thanks, Spambot. I'm not eating the bugs. I don't care if they're tasty. And they're not. Uh, Plunder World. How you doing, Plunder World? Mace will pass a new bill. Care of unprotected nude targeting. I will let you figure out the acronym for yourself. It's offensive, and I do not approve. Do not approve. Except I kind of do approve. All right. Let's see. Let's update the Canada one here. So this is what you sent. All right. Imagine an Alberta from Rise of Alberta. So I'm guessing this is a separatist account. Accelerating Alberta's journey towards independence. All right. Imagine an Alberta where we're in control of our own destiny. An independent Alberta would boast one of the highest GDP per capitas worldwide. I'm kind of sold. Let's take a look.
What if Alberta became independent from Canada? If Alberta were to become independent from Canada, it would emerge as a mid-sized nation with a population of approximately 5 million people, covering an area of 661,848 square kilometers. This new country would be larger than France and slightly smaller than Ukraine. English would likely remain the official language. Economically, Alberta would have a GDP of around $350 billion, contributing about 15% to Canada's total GDP. This translates to a GDP per capita of approximately $71,900, making it one of the wealthiest countries in the world. Their economy is heavily reliant on the energy sector, with oil and gas accounting for 70% of exports. Independence could offer Alberta greater control over its natural resources and fiscal policies, potentially leading to increased revenues and tailored economic strategies. What if Alberta became independent from...
I mean, there's always unforeseen circumstances, of course. But yeah, I mean, I think they'd have a pretty good start. I think a very good start, actually. So I understand it. I mean, ultimately, I hope that Canada does stay together. I mean, at some point, though, when your country has been transformed as much as Canada has over the last 10 years by the Trudeau government, and then you re-elect the same thing again, just with a new face on it, and just, that it's going to be going into overdrive. Whatever was happening the last 10 years is going to be going into overdrive. Yeah, at some point you can see yourself saying, this just isn't going to work. And we're talking about run by radical leftists, like radical progressives, eco fanatics. And socially radically progressive. Canadians don't understand how radical Canada is in the world compared to other countries, compared to other Western countries. Like Canadians didn't realize we had amongst the most draconian COVID policies in the world. Canadians don't realize we are one of only a handful of countries, literally a handful, like about half a dozen countries that have no limits on abortion. None. That's not normal in the world. In Europe, the standard is 12 weeks. Canada, there is no limit right up until birth. If you can find a doctor who'll do it, that's perfectly legal for any reason. That's not normal. That's extreme for Europe. Europeans see that as kind of unimaginably, permissive. It's unimaginably far left even for them. As you've had Sweden, like Denmark, the UK, the United States shutting down the whole, puberty blockers thing for so-called gender treatment, or the euphemistically titled gender-affirming care. Doesn't make a dent in Canada. Canadians don't even know about that. News isn't going to tell them. No, Canada is a radically left-wing country at this point. It's been turned into something that it never was before. And that started in earnest under Justin Trudeau, and it's continuing along that same route. So at some point, when your country just isn't the place that you grew up in anymore, and it's not, but it's going to get worse. At some point, people just say, well, and especially when you have major cultural differences and economic differences in different regions of the same country, a huge country. At some point, you can absolutely see the whole enterprise just falling apart. And why not? Why not? Justin Trudeau, his own words, we're a post-national country. We have no core identity. Well, what's the point in being Canadian then? That point. I would like to try to hold Canada together, to bring Canada back to sanity again, to being something like the country that we used to know. I haven't, completely lost hope on that yet. But I don't think it's ill-advised to keep an eye on independence movements. If Canada keeps going the way that it is, it's a guarantee eventually. Unless we end up with just full-on Chinese-style authoritarianism, totalitarianism. And that might be on the menu too. So I guess we'll just have to find out how terrible things are going to get. We'll just have to wait. All right. So Moose on the Loose posted this. He's got a good YouTube channel. I encourage you to check it out. Palestinians call for an official Nakba Day to be recognized in Canada, among other demands. This commemorates the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. I don't see what it's got to do with Canada. I kind of feel like Nakba Day is none of Canada's business. They demanded Canada build an anti-Palestinian racism at the federal level. Anti-Palestinian racism at the federal level. I don't know. Why is this any of Canada's business? Why do we have to be concerned with this? What is the Canadian government anti-Palestinian now? I don't. They keep telling us that we're this awful, racist, perpetual, infinite genocide state. I just don't really see it. You can start by stop burning the Canadian flag and chanting "Death to Canada," as the protesters constantly do. I kind of feel like this is not Canadian, and it shouldn't be in Canada, and they should fuck off to Gaza.
Now is the time to take action so that our words match our actions. So let me give a brief overview of the Nakba bill. The act asks for, among other items, the following changes in our relationship with Palestinian human rights. First, that Canada mark the 15th of May as the annual Nakba Day.
No, nothing to do with Canada. No, we don't want it. Don't need it. How about you work on doing better with Christmas?
That Canada recognizes Palestinian statehood, as numerous experts asked Canada to do at the Foreign Affairs Committee during their study last year.
No, fuck off to Gaza.
That Canada expands its one-way weapons embargo against Israel to include transparency measures that identifies all weapons exports and removes any loopholes.
No. In fact, the more of this that I see, the more of these demands that I see, the more I want them to ignore everything that you're saying completely.
Canada bans IDF recruitment on its soil. That Canada recognizes the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court.
No. Shut up, Commie. Commie gets nothing.
Including in its advisory opinion, that Canada bans all imports generated from illegal settlements under international law. That Canada applies sanctions.
No, about what I want. Fuck off.
Against leaders currently wanted by the ICC.
Nothing. None of what you're asking for. No, this has nothing to do with Canada. Fuck off to Gaza.
An accusation of war crimes against humanity, as well as Israeli leaders sitting in the Netanyahu's war cabinet. That Canada builds and adopts a definition of anti-Palestinian racism at the federal level, and that Canada reforms the Special Measures Program to allow Palestinians in Gaza to more easily reunite with their loved ones here in Canada.
We've got enough people on the streets screaming genocidal slogans, doing stuff like this. This is a Jewish cafe, and they're putting red red smoke at these people just trying to have lunch because it's owned by Jewish people. The cafe is owned by Jewish people. It's not Israel. It's not Gaza. It's not the West Bank. This has nothing to do with anything. It's just a restaurant with people having lunch. So what? So we can have more of this? No, I say no. I say it's a failed experiment. No, no more. We don't need this. We don't need your blood feud in Canada. We don't need it. We don't need this. We don't need the Eritrean civil war. We don't need the conflict between like Sikhs and Hindus. We just don't need the rest of the world's problems in Canada. All right. If this is the diversity they were telling us about, how wonderful it is and how it's our strength, it sure doesn't feel like it. No more. If you want to come to Canada, leave that shit at the door. We don't want it. It's none of our business. Fuck off. This is in Toronto. These people really need to piss off. That's a sentiment that I've noticed. That's Brian Lilly saying that. At least the cops did step in to stop this. Normally they don't. Normally it's just whatever. You apparently can just do whatever you want. So in any case, I am not sympathetic. I am not sympathetic. All right. That comment gets nothing was for you, JJ. That was for you. Faces of Vancouver. Faces of Vancouver. Driver depicts Vancouver in a nutshell. Vancouver is a hippie land, he says. A hippie land. He's figured out Vancouver. Let's let him explain it. He does a great job.
Vancouver is a hippie land run by hippies for the hippies. If you're not a hippie, you're in the wrong city. And
they're actually radical leftists is the thing. They're not really even hippies. They wouldn't get along with the hippies, right? The hippies weren't authoritarian enough, so they wouldn't get along. Vancouver is run by authoritarian leftists.
That's exactly how it works. In this city, you have to retire your brain. Whatever happens, you say, wow, that's beautiful. I'm loving it. You should be proud of it. God forbid if you have any idea about anything. They put all the stickers on you, racist, arrogant, anti-this, anti-that. These people are all on drugs. This is a country on drugs. Somebody called Vancouver City of mentally sick and drug addicted. Not all of them are, but I think based on my experience with people, at least 35-40% of these people are mentally sick.
Yeah, he meets a lot of people. He meets a lot of people if he's a driver, right? Yeah, he nails it. Mentally sick. Mentally sick. He nailed it. I like this guy. I like the cut of his jib. He's good. He's not doing this. He's not going and doing this, right? So that's good. Whatever is just better than that. All right. We're getting close to the end. Let's see. Shall we change it to this one again? I like this one. This is a good one because there's suspense in this one, in this educational video. Let's see. A. Nickerson says Canadian death throws 30% between 2021 and 2022. I got cancer then. He says, "Oh God, well, I hope that you're doing okay now." But I've seen figures from all over the world. There's what's his name? Is it John Campbell from the UK? Has documented young people dying at increased rates, like quite increased rates since then. And, he doesn't, he knows that he's, under the censorship boot on YouTube. So he has to kind of insinuate what a lot of people kind of wonder. Well, what happened then? What happened? What happened in 2021? And it's still happening for some people now. Nevada says, I still want Greenland. I still want Greenland. Maybe you're going to get it. You can live in that underground bunker, that under the ice bunker. Let's see what else we got going on. Let's see. All right, let's move on. Turtles asks, what's going on with the ostriches today? It's actually a really sad story. I think they're still planning on culling all of them. Should probably make a video on that. There's so much. I can never get to everything. But there's big stories like the Amy Ham story, the nurse in Vancouver, which is one, the problem is other people are covering it and it's an ongoing thing, and you just can't cover everything. Let's see, especially now, especially since I'm covering American news, Canadian news, I'm covering UK news and, culture war stuff. And let's see, Blender News wrote this Blender News posted this: democracy in Canada is dead and the Liberal Party is picking at the bones. During the recount in Milton, East Holston Hill South, 99.7% of all new or flipped votes went to the Liberals. A statistical anomaly so extreme it's like winning the lottery 7 times in a row. I want to show you something else as well before we see that. Here's Terrebonne, recount there. Recount had the Liberals winning by 1 vote. They flipped it, and they flipped it by 1 vote. 1 vote, that's all they needed. Now looks like the Bloc is going to take this to court because there was an error with addresses, and there was some votes that didn't count that should have counted. This is going to be an ongoing thing, but anytime you see that they just have enough by 1 vote to take it, you start going, okay, well, let's see if there's more weird things going on. The Liberals do not have a majority yet. They need 2 more seats to get a majority, and then Canada's really screwed because they just are able to wreck the country in any way that they please for 4 years. But let's take a look at this.
Canada didn't lose its democracy overnight. It rotted slowly through bureaucratic failure, media silence, and political convenience until the 2025 federal election exposed what many already suspected. The system isn't broken, it's rigged, decaying, and no longer even pretending to function. Nowhere is that more obvious than in the mathematically impossible recount in Milton East, Halton Hills South. Before the recount, the Conservative candidate was in the lead. Then, 554 new ballots appeared. Elections Canada rejected 328 of them, leaving just 226 valid votes. But somehow, the Liberal candidate gained 290 votes, 64 more than the number of new valid ballots. That means their gain came not just from new ballots, but from votes taken away from other candidates. How is that even possible? Let that sink in. 99.7% of all new or flipped votes went to a single party. A statistical anomaly so extreme it carries a probability of 1 in 10 sextillion, a number so large I never even learned it. Just try to wrap your head around this number. The Liberals gaining 99.7% of the recounted votes is the statistical equivalent of winning the lottery 7 times in a row. The numbers don't lie, but our institutions do, and it gets worse. In Terrebonne, Quebec, the Liberals were handed a win by a single vote after a judicial recount, but at least 1 Bloc voter's ballot, properly filled out and mailed on time, was never counted. Why? Because Elections Canada printed the wrong postal code on the return envelope. The ballot was rejected and sent back by Canada Post. Elections Canada admits the error, admits the voter followed the rules, admits the vote was legitimate. In their response, there's really no mechanism for that to be counted, said spokesperson Matthew McKenna. And yet the Liberal Party, which reaps the benefits of all these miraculous reversals, still dares to lecture us about threats to democracy. But here's the truth. You can't threaten something that's already dead. It's like hyenas warning that a lion is a danger to the gazelle while they gorge on its lifeless corpse. Our democracy isn't under attack. It's already been killed by bureaucrats who can't print an address correctly, by a party that gains votes out of thin air, by journalists too timid to ask real questions because they're paid by the government, and by citizens too numb and distracted to care. This isn't democracy, it's political theater, and unless we say it clearly, loudly, and unapologetically, we're not just witnesses to its death, we're pallbearers.
Remarkably similar to 2020, wouldn't you say? With all of those votes showing up in the middle of the night, 8% for Biden. Remarkably similar. Remarkably similar. Now, it's different in Canada because it's all paper ballots. They're hand counted. There's two people with a witness that are supposed to be counting them. But we've seen that there seems to be perhaps a vulnerability here with these recounts. And, who gets to decide what ballot counts, what ballot doesn't. It's certainly all extremely, extremely suspicious. And we've just been through 10 years of constant scandal, ethics violations by the Liberal government. And in that time, I mean, they've had the opportunity to get sympathetic people into all, especially the Senate, actually, but into all kinds of positions. We already know that Canada is already highly politicized in every single institution. So we're going to need some more answers. Now, there will be lawyers doing this stuff. It'll be done out of sight of most of the population because the media won't cover it. We know that the Bloc is taking the Terrebonne issue to court. So we will find out more as it comes along. But it's important to, I don't know, at least that some people, because this stuff is just, any questions about this is, as he says, it's not going to be covered in the media. They're not going to ask any questions. They're paid by the government or subsidized by the government. So, yeah, the absolute state of Canada. Canada is a cautionary tale for the world. All right. So I think what I might do now is, we got a couple hours of the premium streaming done last night. I've still got 3 more hours to do of that. And so what we might do now is, because we've already done 2 hours, and I wasn't planning to do more than 2 hours tonight, really, but we've still got a bit more time. Maybe we'll do some more. We'll see if we can get in half an hour of premium only streaming on Rumble, because for those who don't know, to be part of the Rumble Creator Program, which has been pretty good for me, I have to do 5 hours of Rumble Premium streaming each month to stay in the program. So I've just got to do it. And it kind of sucks because not everybody who wants to watch can watch those parts. But it's only 5 hours a month. So it's something that I just have to do. So I think we're going to do that now. And hopefully everybody will be able to stay in. We'll be able to stay in. But I just got to do it. Before we do that, we'll take a quick look at the chat. Spambot says, the more seats that flip, the more certain that Alberta leaves. Yeah. Well, if they somehow miraculously flip enough to have a majority, it's not going to look good for Albertans, is it? Albertans are not going to look on that without a skeptical eye. Let's see. All right, we're going to skip to, I'm going to turn on the Rumble Premium. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. We got to go.